Well, welcome back to Bourbon Riders. If it's Friday night, it's Friday night bourbon fight. Too much, right? Yeah, probably. Well, it is Friday night and it's bourbon fight. Tonight's bout is going to be for the middleweight wheated bourbon champion. Our challenger from Colorado, weighing in at 92 proof, is Old Elk Wheated Bourbon from Old Elk Distillery. Now, we've done a taste test on this, and we think these guys have got a shot at the crown. But they are going up against the reigning champ of wheated bourbons, at least ones you could buy. That champion is Weller Special Reserve. Now, Antique 107 couldn't make it, and Weller 12 Year refuses to come on the channel. Something about me impugning his character. I only did it once, or 3 times, maybe. Anyways, Weller's here. Weller's sort of available, and certainly is the king of the middleweight wheated bourbons. Tonight's 3-round bout consists of round 1, the nose. What is the aroma? Round 2, the palate. Round 3, the finish. So, aroma, 5 points. Taste, 10 points. Kind of like Double Jeopardy, but different. And then the finish, 5 points, for a total of 20 points. The bourbon with the most points wins the bout. Let's get started. All right, in this corner, Old Elk. And in this corner, the champion, Weller Special Reserve. Round 1, the nose. Interesting. I do get kind of a sweet wheat smell, typical to wheated bourbon. Not a real strong bourbon presence. In other words, the brown sugar molasses smell you get in a lot of bourbons. The champion, Weller Special Reserve. Similar aroma, but not quite as strong. Sweet wheat, more brown sugar molasses, so more bourbon aroma in the Weller than in the Old Elk. I'll have to give this first round to the challenger, Old Elk. We'll post the scores on the screen. All right, now up round 2, the palate. What has the best taste? So we're going to start with the Weller this time. Not very proofy, which is nice. A little bit of spice on the front. Nice, sweet in the middle. Kind of picked up what I smelled, kind of a bourbon-esque flavor, but not real strong. Not really fruity, more brown sugar molasses, vanilla, sweet dessert kind of. Maybe a little bit of cinnamon in there. Let's try it again. That baking spice up front with the cinnamon sugar, it reminds me of, you ever had those brown sugar Pop-Tarts? Not the one with the stupid frosting on it, but just the plain brown sugar ones. You heat them up and you taste that cinnamon and brown sugar and sweetness. That's what that reminds me of. I didn't get to have this as a kid, but that's what it reminds me of. All right, the Challenger Old Elk Wheated Bourbon. Slightly less spice on the front end. Also sweet, comparably to the Weller. A little less deep in the flavor. More like a confectioner sugar than a brown sugar. So still sweet, but not that deepness. All right, so on to round 3, the finish. So the finish on the Old Elk is a little peppery on the back end. The sweetness lingers, and the Kentucky hug rolls out slowly. So, pretty nice. All right, now for the champion, the Weller. The finish on the Weller is more baking spice again, kind of like it was on the front. A little less peppery. The sweetness lingers, but not quite as long as the Old Elk. I can't explain it. I lose the sweetness fast, and I'm left with the baking spice. Not bad, but I actually think the Old Yeller has the Old Yeller has the advantage. The Old Elk has the advantage in finish by a pretty fair amount. So we're going to tally up our scores to see who has the most points. It's actually a pretty close competition, closer than I thought it would be. This is a fine alternative to the Weller. The taste profile is a little different. The sweetness is a little bit lighter, not as deep, but the finish lasts longer than the Weller. So we'll be back in a moment with our final scores and declare a champion. So the judges have tallied their scores. What? Oh, judge me has tallied his score, and it was a really close competition. Old Elk had the advantage on the nose with 3 points versus Weller's 2 points out of a total of 5. I just thought that the aroma was a little stronger and a little deeper, a little more pleasant with the Old Elk. On taste, it really wasn't that close. I do like the taste of the Old Elk. It's a very sippable bourbon. I would buy it again if I had the chance. It's a little bit more expensive than the Weller, if you can find the Weller. And I did enjoy it. But the complex taste in the Weller just it overpowers the Old Elk. I've tasted it individually, but head to head, the Weller's better by 3 points. So Old Elk receives 6 points for taste. Weller Special Reserve received 9 points. 1 point just shy of being perfect. I mean, as far as this is a wheated bourbon competition, so I'm rating the taste on wheated bourbons, not any kind of other bourbon. On finish, Old Elk did shine a little better with their finish, lasting longer, a little more peppery than the Weller. And I could taste the sweetness a little bit longer than the Weller. The sweetness went away pretty quick, and I was left with the baking spice finish, which was nice, but it was without that sweetness. So it's kind of like cinnamon toast without any sugar on it. That's kind of what I was left with. So it's kind of like, I gotta sip it again to get some more flavor, which I don't mind doing. So on finish, Old Elk beat out Weller. But when you add up the scores, Weller received 12 points out of 20. Weller, I keep wanting to call it Old Yeller. I don't know why. Weller received 13 points. So they really only won by 1 point. That's amazing to me. I would have thought the Weller would have just killed anything else coming up to it, because the Weller is just such a great product. But this is a really good product. If the Weller wasn't available, I would have no problem buying this product and drinking this product as a, I wouldn't say a daily sipper, but certainly a Friday night sipper. In tonight's Friday night bourbon fight, Weller keeps his belt. Well, check back next Friday night, and we will have another bourbon fight of two similar or competing products and see which one comes out on top. Which one keeps the belt? Which one steals the belt? As always, please drink responsibly, never drink and drive, and we'll see you next time. Friday night bourbon fight. Yeah, still too much, isn't it?